Go Caffeine! We did our AP Stats project on caffeine consumption.
Caffeine is a huge part of many high schoolers' lives, and we wanted to look into it more in depth.
Christina and I are both employees at local coffee shops, and all three of us drink a large amount of caffeine on a regular basis. We were interested in observing if the proportions of Sangerville High School students who never drink caffeine 1 to 2 days per week, 3 to 5 days per week, or 6 to 7 days per week, were the same for all grade levels. So we conducted a chi-squared test for homogeneity. So we went to the store to see what types of beverages contain caffeine. The Sangerville High School student body was the parameter for our chi-squared homogeneity test. Our null hypothesis was that the proportion of students who drink caffeine more than once a week is the same among all grade levels at Sangerville High School. Our alternate hypothesis was that the proportion of students who drink caffeine more than once a week is not the same among all grade levels. The first assumption for our chi-squared homogeneity test was met. Our data came from 4 separate SRSs for each grade level at Sangerville High School. All of our expected counts were at least 1. However, at least 80% of our expected counts were not greater than 5. So we proceeded with caution. We started by acquiring a list of all advisory classes and organizing them by grade level. Then we assigned numerical values for each class and used a calculator to randomly generate 2 numbers. 2 advisories for each grade level were selected and given these surveys to complete. Then we took this data and plugged it into our calculator to get our expected counts. Surprisingly, we found that the expected counts for each grade level were actually quite similar for each day of caffeine consumption. Oh, and we also had 9 degrees of freedom. Then we used our calculator to carry out a chi-squared homogeneity test. We got a chi-squared value of 2.72. Using this chi-squared value, we found a p-value of 0.9744. With a p-value this high, there is no question that we will fail to reject our null hypothesis at all alpha levels. This leads us to conclude, overall, there is statistically significant evidence that the proportions of students at Sangerville High School in grades 9, 10, 11, and 12 who never drink caffeine 1 to 2 days per week, 3 to 5 days per week, or 6 to 7 days per week could be equal. A problem with our data is that we only got sample sizes of about 30 from each grade. If we were to do this experiment again, we would want to go to at least 4 advisories to increase our sample sizes, thus ensuring that our sample proportions are unbiased estimators of the true population proportions. Our handy-dandy caffeine dog also found that another issue was that when we conducted our study, we found that some of the advisory classes were mixed grade levels. And to avoid bias or potential lurking variables, we did not choose to include them in our SRSs. Follow-up studies that we could do would be to take this survey to several high schools such as Terra Linda, Redwood, Drake, and Tam. Also, we could observe the proportions amongst middle school and high school students to see if the proportions are the same.